We want to create the first hemp 3D printed material that is load bearing, that's AC 509 approved. Right? If that happens, let's talk about how that technology works. Technology works with hemp that if we're building a wall, we're building a bridge, a tunnel, a building, whatever it may be, that hempcrete, the science has been proven. The science proves that when you build a wall with hempcrete, because you're not using cement, you're using lime as your binding agent with hemp fibers, and of course, all your other admixtures in that, that building, that structure, when it cures, it is breathing in CO2, sequestering it or storing it inside its own concrete for the life of that structure. That structure's a tree. It's breathing in CO2 the whole time that it's built, which basically means rather than emitting, right, your greenhouse gases, everything you build now is pulling it in and making the environment so much better. And for our building partners that are listening to this, when you use these type of technologies and this material that actually sustainably captures CO2, your carbon credit potential is incredible.
When I looked into hempcrete, it has carbon sequestration potential, but I didn't know it absorbs carbon dioxide from the atmosphere because it's a dead plant at that point and it's covered in lime. It has air purification potential or properties, but how would a dead plant in a wall be able to...
It's the chemical reaction in that material from the fiber and all the different materials from that hemp that makes it happen. We'll send you the third-party paper on the science. I totally agree with you. I didn't get it either, and I'm not a scientist. I still have a hard time saying, wait a minute, how exactly does that work? So I have to go back to this paper and reread it all the time. We'll send you the paper. Sure. You'll see it all.
So I looked into hempcrete and all the claims being made about the wall sucking in carbon dioxide during its whole life, and it doesn't do that.
Wait, the hempcrete itself is a product that claims that it sequesters CO2?
There are scientists out there that you have to read the language very, very carefully, because what they are trying to say in their language, I can read it out to you if you'd like.
Absolutely.
The founder of the U.S. Hemp Building Association said this: while we're growing hemp and building hempcrete, it's sucking in CO2 the whole time and encapsulating the CO2 into the structure.
Is that true?
That is true. But you can't spin that by saying that your hempcrete wall is going to be sucking in CO2. What he is saying that a hemp plant, while it is growing, it sucks in CO2 during photosynthesis. Plants need oxygen. They're not just sucking in CO2 during their whole life. People have this misconception that plants just don't need oxygen at all. Just all they're doing during their whole life is just sucking in CO2 and releasing oxygen into the atmosphere. No. During photosynthesis, hemp plants, like any other plants and any other trees, they suck in CO2 and then release oxygen into the atmosphere. And what they're trying to say is that they chop up the hemp plant and encapsulate it in lime so that it cannot decompose. With any other plant, when it decomposes, it releases all that carbon dioxide back into the atmosphere. It's net zero. It doesn't just magically disappear into nothing. So with the hemp plant, once it dies, once it's cut up and and encapsulated into a ball, then that carbon dioxide is held in and not released. That's the advantage of hempcrete.
So that is a good thing.
Absolutely. It is a good thing. But it's not sucking in.
Continuously pulling CO2 in.
Yeah, because that doesn't make sense. It's a dead plant.